You know, one of the things, again, when you get into wood and you've got knots, and sometimes you can get some pretty nasty stuff you got to fill. Particularly you get into big old slabs and things like that. And they can be quite daunting, I think would be the word. But the big thing is getting them filled with something that's going to hold up. That's where we have to look at the epoxies and things like that. You know, using a typical wood filler and filling a big void like we have here is not going to work. You've just got too much mass in there. Now, when I say it's not going to work, what I'm talking about is, you could keep doing little teeny thin layers in there so that the filler keeps drying. But that could take a long time. One of the biggest keys, again, is you got to make sure you're down the solid wood. And we've done this in another section. I mean, this light colored wood around here, the dark in here is a bark inclusion, and the light colored wood around is just really soft. It's got to go. Now you can take a chisel it out, whatever, take a Dremel with a grinder, grind it out, but you got to get it out. You've got to get down the solid wood. It's not going to do any good to fill that if you don't have something in there for the filler to bite to that's going to create a substantial or structural strength. One of the easiest things, take a drill bit and just hog it out. I don't know how, let me show you this. Look how quick and easy. See on this, watch this drill bit. It just pops right through it. I mean, there's nothing there that's going to last. Not to mention that irrespective of what you do, I mean, look what I'm digging out of the bottom of it. That's just bark. And that bark, you're not going to get a bond under here. So I just want to get all this dug out really good. The other thing, a lot of times you want to make sure you get all that dark out of there so you can get a little bit more, make a little better camouflage of the repair. So let me dig this out and we'll be right back. Okay, it's a bit warm. It does that. But it's pliable. It's not fully set. This is the point I want to catch it. If I let this get fully hard, you're going to be saying, it takes a little bit to sand it down. By the way, did I mention it planes pretty good? It does. You can also use a scraper on it. What we're after here is getting the worst down to where we don't have all that sanding to do. Now I'm going to tell you all a little secret. All right. Now I ain't going to tell y'all how I know this. But if you get a mortise that's a little too large or a tenon that's slightly too small, you might want to try a little bit of this. You might be surprised. It works extremely well with wood glue. Again, I can't tell you how I know that, but it does pretty nice. Now, I've got a smooth surface. Now here's the thing. Oftentimes, and if you look right here, what you're going to notice with body filler is, see here, you can get pinholes, little teeny pinholes. So that's why I'm telling you, a lot of times it takes 2 coats. In this coat you do, and if you were using just the body filler, this is where you would do what's called a skim coat. And that means you just mix up a little bit and come right across the top of it, pressing really hard. And if you see those pinholes, what you want to do is take something and just pick them out. Again, all you're after is a total fill. Now, once you've done that skim coat, let it fully harden. And that's usually just 30 minutes or something like that. You'll know because it'll be just hard as a brick. See, this is still pliable. But the issue with using the trans tint in the body filler is simply put the color. You know, by the time you play with this trans tint or that trans tint and you try to get the color right, odds are it's going to be set up on you and you're going to be, So, you could take that gallon and 10 bottles of trans tint to finally get the color right. So here's a little trick. Back cut it, meaning shave a little layer off, just a thin layer. Get it out of there. Now, when you've got a defined edge, like we have here, like right here, what you want to do is you want to take a chisel or something, and you want to back chisel it just a little bit. Kind of put a little bit of a V-groove on it, or just tape it the side back. The only thing that's going to do is just ensure that you got a full fill. Now again, one of the easiest ways to do this is with with a burr. This is a cut saw burr, but you can use you can even use a small wire brush. So all I'm after is just taking the surface off. Now, I have a perfect candidate just to use a thin layer of a regular filler. All right, now I can simply, like I said, just use a good filler over top of it, let it dry. Now I'm using a water base here, and the reason I'm using the water base is it will take a stain. Now if I was going natural, I could, and the other thing with this is going to give me plenty of time. So if I needed to intermix different colors or use some Transtent or whatever to get that color, I've got time to do that. All right. So now we have a knot that when this dries, ready to sand off, and we've got a good, we know underneath here we've got a good foundation. It's full, tremendous amount of strength, and it's going to last. It's going to stay. That's how we quote fill a knot, a large knot, or a large void. Well, I got on that a little quick. The heat from the Bondo's getting it, setting it up a little fast. I'll get a little bit wetter. All right, we'll just let it dry. And like I said, then it's ready to sand off.